out. My name is Vanessa Williams Morgan, and today we have a very special guest with us. This is the lovely Wadia, and we will be discussing two things. Today's conversation is a little bit twofold. One, how is it navigating your 30s? And two, what is it like being a parent to an autistic child? Ready?
Yeah.
All right, so which do we start with? I think I want to start with autism because autism awareness in Jamaica is not where we want it to be. I think we are both shared that special bond because our children are both diagnosed with this. It's not an illness, but this special set of abilities.
Yeah.
Right? So how are you?
I'm pretty good, hanging in there.
Yeah.
It's a daily
Right.
hanging in
Right.
there. But when it comes on to autism, boy, that's a conversation I can take forever. A conversation that can take forever. The shortened version of it is every day is a new day. Every day is different. So just like how there's no two children with the same kind of autism, no 2 days with an autistic child is the same.
So true. So true. When did you notice that something was different?
Yeah. So for the first 18 months, her developmental milestones were almost on point. Except we noticed she wasn't speaking as fast as she was supposed to. And that was the only set of developmental milestones she wasn't hitting.
Right.
So we were watching that, but old wives said that if the baby walk early, the baby not gonna talk early.
Right.
And she walked very early.
Yeah.
So we were watching her, monitoring her, and by the time she hit 2 years, we realized that not all of her milestones were being hit. So I spoke to her pediatrician, and she started school right after the pandemic. And so a lot of the doctors were telling her, oh, it's because they were home in the pandemic. Why they're not hitting all their milestones, they're not socialized enough. So we said, okay. She went into school, and we still weren't getting the kind of results. So by the time she was 2 years old, almost 3, we got her officially assessed, and the diagnosis was given.
So the major thing for you guys was that the fact that she wasn't speaking.
So that was a primary fact,
Right.
and then we noticed that she was doing gigs. She was spinning constantly. She didn't do tippy-toe walking or any of those obvious other signs.
Right.
But when she's distressed, she had certain signs to show that she was
stimming.
She was practically stimming most of the time, and especially like at bedtime to relax herself.
Alright, do you want to define what is stimming for persons who might not know?
Alright, so for persons who don't know, stimming is a self-regulation tactic that children with autism use. So you'll notice some of them tap their fingers.
Right.
You'll notice some of them rock. You'll notice some of them clap their hands or stomp their feet, or they pull on a particular piece of clothing.
Right.
That's called stimming. So we regular people with neurotypicals can self-regulate internally.
Oh, you use a term that I want to expound on.
Neurotypical. Neurotypicals are regular, and I use the term regular in air quotes, regular people. So they don't have either a developmental delay or a speech delay. They don't have a processing disorder. And to be honest, a lot of people have varying degrees of processing disorders.
Right.
However, it's how the child or adult processes their sensory overloads, their dietary requirements. It's a whole combination of things that lead to the autism diagnosis. So you have to watch it because, or my child, like yours, have a very rigid diet.
Right.
Very, very rigid. And other people be like, no, just make your baby eat. No. They have a very specific diet. You have to buy a specific brand of food, a very specific texture. You have to cook it in a particular way, or not go down.
Yeah. Right.
Going down.
Right. And as we talk about sensory overload, some of the things that you notice that can cause sensory overload are what?
Bright lights.
Yes.
Rapid moving colors. Loud noises. Because that was another thing that we noticed. I could not use any form of high-pitched noises in my house. I couldn't use a hairdryer. I couldn't use a blender.
The whacker man outside.
Can you use a weed whacker?
Yes.
Nothing. Child has to be outside the yard and any of those things is happening.
Right.
Or you have to buy the noise cancelling and noise dampening earbuds because if it's not for those, can't function. When the child is, a lot of children when they go to the public, some of them are shy or some of them are outspoken. My child has a meltdown in public.
Right. Very important. We're gonna pause right there. Your child has a meltdown in public.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you navigate that?
Well, it took a lot of therapy.
Because firstly,
It took a lot of exposure therapy.
persons who are neurotypical, adults mostly, they will see your child and they're having a meltdown, and the first thing that they're gonna do is scold you as a parent.
Yes, and they're going to
What
say
kind of mama you are? What kind of mama you be? You can't control your pit.
And the assumption is your child who is having a meltdown is having a temper tantrum.
Yes.
They're not. They're different.
Yes.
My child is having a meltdown because my child cannot process all these lights, all these sounds.
There's
There's boots crashing, there's people talking, there's
Yes.
sound from the AC. My child is overstimulated.
Right.
And the word overstimulated means that everything is happening all at once and you just cannot go any further. Your brain and your body now accept all of the stimuli.
Thank you. Very good explanation. As I said, I have been to both sides of the coin. I saw a child having a meltdown once, and I did not understand what the parent was going through. I didn't understand what was happening with the child. It was the very first time I was actually exposed to what was autism. I was pregnant with Reggie at the time, so that was many years ago. And then this lady, she kind of like, oh, so this is autism, and she kind of like, she was explaining it to me, and immediately I kind of like, oh my God, you must have gone through it, girl. And at the time I was like 23, as I said, I was pregnant with Reggie at the time, so that was when I was actually exposed to the term autism. And then 9 years later, here come is, and I now have a child that is autistic. I have actually to deal with everything from the public perspective, in terms of people will look at you different.
The judgment,
girl. Of people will look at you different. People will treat your child different.
Yes, and then they're going to tell you, oh, don't bring your child.
Yes.
We're having a child-free event because
Yes,
they don't want your particular child there.
Right.
And then you're going to start feeling some type of way because, all right, I'll just keep my child at home. But then my child on the furniture, my child don't even lock up in the house all the time. My child needs exposure.
Thank you.
My child enjoys the same thing. My child enjoys a bounce about just like any other child.
Thank you.
My child enjoys the clown at the emancipation part just like any other child.
Right.
Loves bubbles. Let's just talk about autism and bubbles. Loves the bubbles just like any other child. It's just they process life differently.
Right.
They accept life differently.
It is so difficult as parents to understand what they are going through and not be apologetic to
the public.
Masses.
Oh my God. And the guilt. The guilt, because sometimes you just okay, let's see if we're having a quiet day today.
Right.
Maybe we can go outside and have a quiet day today.
Right.
Nobody's going to judge our child. But then we go out there and our child needs some amount of assistance. And you're feeling the eyes, you're feeling judgment, you're hearing the whispers.
Right.
Some people are bold enough to come up to you, right? And you're trying to explain to them, no, my child has special needs. That's what they use as an excuse when they pity them wild.
Jamaica, we need to do better. So that are some of the challenges that you face outside. What are some of the challenges that you face as a parent, like for yourself? Because you have this baby and this was a perfect, great pregnancy. This child was progressing well. You have all these plans for this child, right?
Yeah.
And now you are seeing something different.
Yeah. The hardest thing was letting go of your expectations. Just letting it go.
Yeah.
And you go through grief. The stages of grief, when you find out that your child is diagnosed with anything, whether it's a physical illness, a mental illness, anything, you go through the 7 stages of grief because you wonder, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better? Is this punishment for something I did? Because they always tell you the sins of the father go to the child,
and you internalize that.
And you internalize a lot
for a while.
Sometimes it's forever. I know parents with adult autistic children. I've met a couple of them, and they still go through it. They still wonder, had I gotten a diagnosis earlier, had I not just pushed this one aside. And then when you have other children, there's a whole different kettle of fish.
Why that one?
I've recently learned the term glass children. And for those who don't know, glass children are usually children of atypical siblings who feel like they don't exist in their families. They don't belong.
Wow.
Because
I've actually never heard the term before.
You've never heard it. So a neurotypical child is in a family with an atypical child, and the parents give the child with special needs more attention because they feel like the child needs more attention. And so because the neurotypical child is more independent, we leave you to do it. Put on your clothes, mama, teach you how to do that. Put on your clothes, feed yourself. The child, sometimes that child just wants comfort. That child needs you to show up. That child needs you to support. So it's important to have additional support when it comes on to that, because when your neurotypical child needs you to show up for them, after a while, if you constantly make excuses, I can't take a sibling with me, they're no longer going to ask. They're going to feel neglected. And then you're also going to feel like you're failing as a parent again. And a lot of parents don't take the time out to realize that the emotional bond is also important.
That is so true.
Not just providing food, shelter, and clothing.
That is so true. And I thought about that, but I did not know the term glass children. I did not know the term, but I thought about it from my perspective, and I basically laughed and said, both of my children get the special treatment. Your children because they both require something different. For a long time, it was about Roger, because for those of you who don't know, he was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I was everything about him, and I was not able to give Ace the attention that he needed. Now, I am trying to zero in, because Roger is now in remission. So while he still does need a lot of assistance, I am now trying to zero in and be there for Ace. Right? So I thought about it, and I realized that Roger is now experiencing a different part of my parenting, because I am not able to with him all the time. But the good thing is that he's now a teenager, and he kind of wants to depend him on. So I will legit laugh. I'm like, okay, thank you. He is big enough to want to do his own thing. But whenever he wants me, I'm trying to make myself more available. Then I think climb up in my bed. I'm like, you're 13. But then I just allow him.
Because he just wants more
love. He needed that at that time, right? So I understand the term. I did not know what the term was, but
you understand it because you live it.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, you live it. Sorry guys, I'm a little sick.
Alright, so next thing that I want to talk about is support. You spoke about that and how important it is to have support. Support as a parent. What does support looks like for you?
My primary support is my partner.
Right.
That's basically it.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of family close by that we can just go drop our kids off or go to grandma for the weekend. We don't have that support. And even friends who offer to help, it comes back into that internalized mom guilt, because not everybody knows how to interact with your children. And you don't want your child to ever feel like they're a burden to anybody.
That is.
And we don't understand the kind of trauma that our children go through when they face any form of rejection.
Right.
We don't. As adults, we feel rejection in a completely different way. But children are emotional beings. So that's where our support comes from each other. And sometimes, as you know, I have to call another parent who I know is going through the struggle and just talk.
it out.
Because only somebody else
Ooh,
in the trenches know what you're going through.
So true.
And a lot of us don't have that, because a lot of us we internalize it to a point where, because we don't want to be a burden to others, we just hold it in and we cry ourselves to sleep. You cry yourself to sleep.
Listen, last week, fully breakdown at work. I was talking to her on the phone and I had a full-on breakdown. And I was thinking about it while I was in the bathroom on the toilet crying at work. I was thinking about it. And I was saying to myself that I lost friends when my son was diagnosed with cancer, the older one. I lost friends due to that. And then I had just this little tiny group of persons leave back. No, right? Just a little tiny group of people. Because, and somebody said it, she said it with the intention to, I have no idea why, but she said that my life is really sad. So she,
What?
yeah, I'm really sad. So she,
What?
yeah.
I'm sorry. That one chokes me.
She did not know how to communicate with me, because when she was talking about her children, my children needs are a little bit different. So she felt guilty discussing, things that her children are doing. And I was like, it's okay, we are parenting, but we're parenting from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
But the fact that she thought that she had to retrieve or take away, the time that we shared together, because she didn't feel like, she felt like she was doing me a disservice. She felt that I was being too sad
But you had
to exist in her space. So I had to take myself out of that situation, because I was like, okay, I get it, I understand. You want to have discussion with people who's a 6-year-old is doing the same
kind
thing
of thing
that
that's
yours
yours.
and mine is not doing the same thing. So it's okay. Do not feel guilty. Do not feel bad. I will take myself out of the situation, because I don't want to be a burden to you. So I'll just stay with my friend them when I'm in our trenches. We're going through the same battle as I am going through, and it is really sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it is where we are, right?
It is. And I was thinking about it the other day, that we don't have the village that our parents had
No, we
raising
don't.
us.
No, we do not.
We don't.
We do not.
We have so many expectations of us. We're supposed to be this kind of particular parent. We're supposed to be this kind of particular spouse. We don't have the village. We don't have the support.
No, we don't.
And so it's important to us to build our own communities.
Thank you. That was my next thing. How do we build our own communities? That was my next question. I can read my mind.
Oh no, but because we're both going through the same thing, we're both going to
How do
have
we build our
similar
own communities? How do we provide support to other parents, even parents of younger children than ours, or even parents who are older children than ours that
who are
still
just
need
getting the diagnosis.
Yes.
So what we can do is we can be that listening ear. It's important to just listen without judgment,
Right.
so that we listen and we don't judge talent.
We listen, we don't judge. Right.
Yeah, because everybody has to go through their processes, and
Right.
some people stay in anger for a very long time. Some people stay in sadness for a very long time. Some people just jump to acceptance.
Yes.
Some people do.
Yeah.
So be that listening ear. If you are out on the road and you see a child that you assume is neurotypical and they're
Right.
having a meltdown, don't judge the parent.
Right.
You ask the parent, can I hold your
Can
shopping
I?
cart? I can't
help?
interact with your child because I don't know if your child
Right.
is going to accept me in your space.
But how can I help?
Can I hold your shopping cart
Right.
so you can deal with your child? Something like that. Be the friend you would want.
Amen. And let the church say amen.
Amen. Be the friend who you. There's nothing else that you can do for someone who you don't understand what they're going through.
So true. So
Money not always going to help. Throwing money at situations don't fix all the problems. They fix money, but don't fix all the problems.
Alright, now that you mentioned money, I'm not gonna let you go any further. Now that you mentioned money, we're gonna talk about the resources. In our community, in our rural Jamaica, there's not a lot of resources for us to tap into. Kingston have more resources. I'm not sure about Montego Bay, but I know for a fact that Kingston has more resources, right? What do you want to see the government do for us, the parents who...
What would I want to see happen?
Right.
More access to resources in terms of if I need to bring in special equipment for my child, customs can't kill me because the swivel chair is $200 and my child needs to be self-regulated and may pay $200 in a customs for a swivel chair.
Right.
So if we do have a board of disabilities, Jennifer, associate disabilities,
Right. Yes. Yes.
if we can register with them and we can get tax breaks for certain things,
Thank
that
you.
would help.
That's a
Because
really good
therapy
idea.
is expensive.
Therapy is expensive.
A lot of our therapies are in person
Right.
when they're dealing directly with our child. Most of us, if you ask a parent with autism, how do they get, they're going to tell you that their salary can only cover therapy because most children require different types of therapy. Okay?
Right.
So getting the resources in, I'm not asking for zero custom because some people will abuse that.
No.
But if we can register and get some of the resources in at a cheaper cost,
Yeah. So we need
if we
some
can
assistance.
put the foundations that are here are not reaching the masses.
Right.
Because there are foundations locally who do provide help.
Yes.
But the people who actually need the help don't know
Don't
about
have
it.
access to the help.
They don't have access to
And
it.
it is very, what do you call it?
They're closed.
Closed.
The circle is closed. You have to have connections.
Right.
Right? The children need aids to go to school.
Yes.
We have hearts.
Yes.
Right? If they can put in a program on heart to do aids for the children who need them, who are in the public school. Because we have no aids. Guys, we have no aids for the children in school.
True. So true. And I have to touch on this before we wrap this up. And it is the one thing that puzzles me. For the persons who are not as educated, persons who they do not know what their children need.
Yeah.
They know that there's something wrong. They do not do the research that is required. They don't know where to find the resources. How do you propose that? So now you are a parent of a child who is autistic. You are a parent also of another child who is okay, is fine, is doing his thing.
Yes.
Now, I believe that once you are put in a certain situation, that it means that you're supposed to help.
Yes.
That's just me. I think that once I am in a certain situation, it is my job to bring awareness. It's my job to help. Now, how do you help parents who are even worse off than me? Because we can afford to
Provide certain
things for our children.
Yeah. So one of the things that we can do for those of us who can provide is, if your child is in a school and you see that the school has, because most schools nowadays,
Guys, please, I'm apologizing for the noise outside. Just in case I'm not able to edit it all out, I apologize. Continue.
So if you are in a space and you see another child who is showing signs of autism, you can talk to the teacher if you don't know the parents.
Right.
And share the resources that you have access to. Because as the resources are limited, all of the practitioners are overstretched. But one thing all of them have in common is they want no child left behind.
Amen. Amen.
So if you have your child in a certain therapy, you can talk to the teachers about it. Right now, what I'm noticing, especially Michael is doing, that they're putting special education as a part of all early childhood.
All early childhood, and that is
yes,
so,
that is so
good
because it's so early. It's so important to find the signs early so that they can get into the therapist early.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can heal from,
No.
but it's something that a lot of people can live with.
Yes.
Manage. Management is the most important thing. If you have resources and you know somebody, like my child goes out of certain developmental toys, they're not using any fine motor skills or gross motor skills toys. I know a parent who's in need of those, their child needs help with that, pass it on.
Yeah.
I mean, not talk, it mash up something then.
Right.
It's in good
Condition.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming, do something good for somebody else.
So true.
And even if it's not Christmas, the children always need resources. Well, if you know if you can afford to buy two and the child is in therapy or the child is at school and you can talk to the therapist, I don't know who in your lot needs additional resources. But here is an additional resource you can give to them anonymously.
Very good.
If you can afford it, do it, because it's not about how much it costs. If it's even for going to the China man and buy
Right.
the cheaper version of the cheaper
Yes.
product,
Yes.
the child will appreciate it. The parents sometimes will appreciate it.
Yes.
But those who understand.
Yes.
As long as it's helping my
Yes.
child.
Amen. Amen. This is why I brought her. I could not do this by myself.
No.
So we spoke about early intervention.
Yeah.
We spoke about knowing some of the signs.
Mhm.
We spoke about, because the signs vary.
Yeah.
So
And-
what we're experiencing, you might be experiencing something different because the signs vary.
And it also depends on what the child is exposed to as well.
Mhm.
And for older children, some parents don't know this, but it's called masking.
Mm-hmm.
So they realize that they're different.
Yeah.
They know that they're different.
Mhm.
So they watch how other children their age respond
And-
to certain things. And
yeah.
even if it doesn't feel right to them,
Mm-hmm.
they respond the same way. And that's called masking. And it's very important to not have your children do masking.
Pause. All right. Where were we again?
We were discussing resources.
We're discussing resources and how we can assist. I since I shared publicly about ACE and some of the challenges that he's facing, I have a lot of persons who reach out to me on TikTok or on YouTube. Through my other channel, The Morgan's Legacy, a lot of persons reach out to me through that medium, and I have been able to guide them the best way I can, because as I said, it is still something that I have to deal with. I am trying to swim, right? So you said what we can do is that we can assist by donating to other parents, assist by giving answers, sometimes a listening here and stuff like that, right? So what are some of the things that you personally would want to share about your journey? Because we talk about the stages of grief, but how did you process the information when you got it? How did you process it?
Alright, so for me, my primary thing was doing extensive research. I know things that even my channel not going through. Just in case.
Facts.
Just in case.
Facts.
I did extensive research, and it helped me to accept that one, I'm not alone.
So we were talking about persons who are not as educated, persons who they do not know what their children need. They know that there's something wrong. They do not do the research that is required. They don't know where to find the resources. How do you propose that? So now you are a parent of a child who is autistic. You are a parent also of another child who is okay, is fine, is doing his thing.
Yes.
Now, I believe that once you're put in a certain situation, that it means that you're supposed to help.
Yes.
That's just me. I think that once I am in a certain situation, it is my job to bring awareness. It's my job to help. Now, how do you help parents who are even worse off than me? We can afford to
Provide certain
things for our children.
Yeah. So one of the things that we can do for those of us who can provide, if your child is in a school and you see that the school has, because most schools nowadays, they
guys, please, I'm apologizing for the noise outside. Just in case I'm not able to edit it all out, I apologize. Continue.
So if you are in a space and you see another child who's showing signs of autism, you can talk to the teacher if you don't know the parents.
Right.
And share the resources that you have access to. Because as the resources are limited, all of the practitioners are overstretched. But one thing all of them have in common is they want no child left behind.
Amen.
So if you have your child in a certain therapy, you can talk to the teachers about it. Right now what I'm noticing, especially the micro is doing, that they're putting special education as a part of all early childhood.
All early childhood, and that is
so good because it's so early. It's so important to find the signs early so that they can get into the therapist early.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can heal from, but it's something that a lot of people can live with. Manage. Management is the most important thing. If you have resources and you know somebody, like my child goes out of certain developmental toys, they're not using any fine motor skills or gross motor skills toys. I know a parent who's in need of their child needs help with that, pass it on.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk, it mash up something.
Right.
It's in good
Condition.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming, do something good for somebody else.
So true.
And even if it's not Christmas, children always need resources. Well, if you can afford to buy two, and the child is in therapy or the child is at school, and you can talk to the therapist, I don't know who in your lot needs additional resources. But here is an additional resource you can give to them anonymously.
Very good.
If you can afford it, do it, because it's not about how much it costs. If it's even for the child man and buy the cheaper version of the cheaper product, the child will appreciate it. The parents sometimes will appreciate it. But those who understand.
Yes.
As long as it's helping my child.
Amen. Amen. This is why I brought her. I could not do this by myself.
No.
So we spoke about early intervention.
Yeah.
We spoke about knowing some of the signs. We spoke about, because the signs vary.
Yeah.
So what we're experiencing, you might be experiencing something different because the signs vary.
And it also depends on what the child is exposed to as well. And for older children, some parents don't know this, but it's called masking. So they realize that they're different.
Yeah.
They know that they're different. So they watch how other children their age respond to certain things, and even if it doesn't feel right to them, they respond the same way. And that's called masking. And it's very important to not have your children do masking.
We edit. We edit. All right. Where were we again?
We were discussing resources.
And how we can assist. I since I shared publicly about Ace and some of the challenges that he's facing, I have a lot of persons who reach out to me on TikTok or on YouTube. Through my other channel, The Morgan's Legacy, a lot of persons reach out to me through that medium, and I have been able to guide them the best way I can, because as I said, it is still something that I have to deal with. I am trying to swim, right? So you said what we can do is that we can assist by donating to other parents, assist by giving answers, sometimes a listening here and stuff like that, right? So what are some of the things that you personally would want to share about your journey? Because we talk about the stages of grief, but how did you process the information when you got it? How did you process it?
Alright, so for me, my primary thing was doing extensive research. I know things that even my channel not going through. Just in case.
Facts.
Just in case.
Facts.
I did extensive research, and it helped me to accept that one, I'm not alone. My child is not alone. And there are certain things that I will never understand because even the doctors themselves don't understand. Right? So doing extensive research, it helps you to feel a little bit more comfortable going into the sphere.
Right.
So you don't get as frustrated when you see, for example, today they want one food and tomorrow they don't want it.
Yeah.
You don't commit yourself to anything. No, because tomorrow is a brand new day. Brand new experience.
We wake up, it's a brand new day. So we don't buy cases of juice around here. No. Because tomorrow, I'll be drinking it.
Or unless you're like me, who's fortunate enough, my child only drink fruit juice, white box, apple juice.
Yeah.
You always have to have it on hand.
I was at that stage once where it was only the grape, and then it became grape and
something
and
else. Mixed berry. We have got, girl,
and that's it.
Yeah. So when they explore new flavors,
it's Minute Maid, but not the big bottle.
The
small bottle. You see, look at that. Look at that.
The small bottle.
Same thing,
Because if you buy the big one, they're going to get overwhelmed, and they're not going to want it.
Yeah.
So you buy the small box, the 1 drink boxes or the 1 drink bottles. And when we say, some people go, take a child to the supermarket to try what they like. No. They taste it here and they go like,
and then you say, okay, let me just get some.
No, you buy it as needed.
Yes.
Because your mind, as Vanessa said, you eat it.
You're gonna end up eating.
Yeah.
So
you eat it.
right now,
and if your favorite brand, you look like it going to go out of stock, store it up.
yes,
Buy it as much as you can.
and if the packaging change, that's another challenge that you're gonna have to
hide it. The packaging change. If your child is like that, again, not everything is always going to be the same.
Yeah.
I can hide certain packages,
Mm-hmm.
but I cannot buy a different brand.
No, has to be the same brand.
Has to be the same flavor.
Ace used to love Oreo, but Ace stopped eating Oreo when Oreo came out with. I think they were having a promotion, and they changed it and put something else.
Mario on the bag.
Yes,
Super Mario.
that's it.
It's
no
not
more
there.
Oreo. It's not. It's no longer Oreo. He wants nothing.
It's the
to do
exact
with
same Oreo in the bag.
Same
Bag
thing.
just changed.
Same thing.
So
But the second him look at
I made
it,
a mistake on one day buy cookie and cream in my hurry. Cookie and cream Oreo. All Oreos get parked.
yeah.
All Oreos because that ain't it.
Mhm.
That ain't it.
I didn't know that Oreo and what the other one name, the generic brand YOLO,
Yeah,
tastes different.
they do.
I just said it looks the same. It's chocolate with cream inside. I'm gonna get it and see if he would try it. And we take it out of the packaging because I want to see if he would notice the difference.
He does.
And we take it out of the packet and at that time it was so small and just feel the difference.
texture. Yeah.
He literally just hold it between his fingers, then he start sniff it and he just
Rejected it.
he just push it to the side like I'm not even gonna try that because that is not what I'm supposed to be putting in my body.
Yeah.
And him legit just don't eat it.
Yeah, just
So-
like us, you can buy certain fabrics.
Yeah.
You can buy certain fabrics because their skin is sensitive. When we talk about autism being all encompassing, if you hear an autistic parent tell you it's everything.
It's everything.
It's not just
everything.
their behaviors or reaction.
It's everything.
It's everything. Like I have to buy a particular type of blanket.
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel a certain kind of way, if it's not slightly weighted, because weighted blankets are. Ooh, let us talk about weighted blankets and their reports on. If your child needs a constant hug, you get yourself a weighted blanket. Yeah,
Yeah.
weighted blankets are.
Thank God I don't need that. But I do need the 100% cotton. The shirt, everything.
Everything has to, because it has to feel a kind.
Yeah.
Your skin has to be able to breathe. Don't that, mommy, what is sweat? What is this?
Yes.
Itch.
Yes.
No, you have to keep them clean, keep them dry. Again, every child is different because some days they will roll around in dirt and they're fine. And you're like, oh God, is this a new development? No. Tomorrow's another day. So when it comes down to resources, so I circle back to that. I digress.
That's fine.
That's one thing. Just having the available resources, being brave enough to have a conversation.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing as an autistic parent. Being brave enough to have a conversation.
I mean, being open to
Being open to receiving.
Yeah.
No, when I say being brave, I mean be brave enough to share
Yeah.
what you're going through.
Yeah.
There's never one person in a boat.
Never.
It may not all be, we may not all be having the same
Right.
experiences, but we can come together because our children have similar requirements.
Yes.
So if your child needs socialization and you come together with other autistic parents, don't force your child to be around children who will make them feel like there's something wrong with them.
Yes.
Don't force,
Yes.
do not force your children to be around anybody
Right.
who makes them feel less than. If you deserve
Including
better,
family.
your child deserves better.
Including
Family
members.
It doesn't matter who.
Yeah.
I could have them daddy.
Mm-hmm.
If they make their child feel like there's something wrong with them, remove them. Because that does not foster development.
True. So true.
That
So
fosters
true.
trauma, regression, and it just causes them to shut down. And what you don't want is your autistic child who's making great strides in therapy to shut down. Regression is not something easy to come out of.
Exactly. Point taken. Now that we're nearing the end of our conversation, I want to ask you something though. This can be taken both ways. So what's your take on it? When a lot of parents, they are looking for a cure. They're looking something to heal their children. Somebody asked me, what do I think about getting a stem cell transplant? Because she read about stem cell transplant and how it can be used to cure or treat, I'm putting those words in quotation, autism. She asked me about it, and I was in India at the time, and she wanted me to find out the information for her child. And I told her my take on it. I don't think what you understand what a stem cell transplant is, because it's difficult. It's very difficult to watch your child break down, and they might not build back.
Yeah, because
so you can decide.
The primary thing about a stem cell transplant, they have to get rid of everything. They have to completely irradiate your body. You have no defenses.
I know.
And if your body rejects that stem cell, that's it. That's it. You lose your child.
So that was one. The stem cell transplant is one. We have also I am okay with this one. This next one, it is detoxing the body from heavy metal. I am on board with that. I am currently doing some research on that because I don't want to do something that is damaging to my child.
Yeah.
So we have detoxing our children, and of course the heavy metal, the stem cell transplant, and then you have some persons who are super into therapy for everything or every area. I am okay with 2 of the 3, and it's not to treat but to help him to cope.
Yeah.
What do you think about the stem cell transplant?
I don't know anything about stem cell transplants and autism.
Yeah.
Because that is something personally I would have to research into it, but I don't think it's going to help them. That's just my personal opinion. Because autism is neurological,
right?
And not even neurologists understand
exactly why it happens.
Nobody understands why children are born autistic. Nobody understands why there's a greater increase, whether it's environmental, genetic, food. We don't understand. Is it really that there's an increase in autistic children, or is it that there's an increase in awareness of autism?
Thank you.
We don't know.
Because that's what I think. I think it's the awareness. I think it's the awareness. I think it's because we're now speaking out more, because it's just It's just lately that I realized that I have a cousin who is now 14 years old and who is autistic because his mother keeps him locked away. So we don't see this child.
I knew about it because I have a cousin who's older than me who
we don't see
who is autistic as well.
You can't do that.
But everybody used to take them special children and carry them for foreign.
Yes.
Or lock them up because something wrong with them and they don't want to violate them.
Carry them out.
Yeah, in special and kind of slow. No. So for me, I agree with therapy.
Say that again.
In special. No, you have to do it in special.